Hi guys, I'm Trish. Today I've got another video about how this one isn't so much about how I save money, but about how I manage money, which is a way of saving money, I guess, and making sure that your finances are always in order, which can be a very difficult thing to do when you're on a pension or like a very low income. So, this one is about how I pay my bills, and when you have a range of bills that come in regularly. You know, you've got your phone bill, your internet bill, gas, electricity, water, your rego, your insurance, roadside assistance if you have that, toll payments if you use freeways that have tolls on them. Lots and lots of different regular bills that you get. Now, I pay a little bit on all of my bills, not all of my bills, most of my bills I pay a little bit each fortnight, so that when my bills come in, they're already paid, and quite often just a little bit in credit, which is how I like to keep them, and I do that intentionally. Number one, if something comes up, if there's an emergency, I can afford to not pay my bills for a few weeks because they're already in credit. And also because a lot of bills, particularly like gas, electricity, water, freeway tolls, rego, all those sorts of things, they increase each year. So I do pay a little bit extra to cover those increases so that I don't get caught out. The electricity and gas can be really big ones with those increases. I don't like those surprises. I love surprises. I love good surprises, but I don't like bad surprises. Now, also, another reason that I pay my bills a little bit each fortnight is because they don't come in spaced out, right? My gas bill I get every 2 months, electricity I get every 3 months, water I get every 3 months, phone and internet I get every month, rego every 3 months, roadside assistance once every 12 months. So there's a big variation there. And one of the worst things that can happen to you if you pay your bills as they come in, like you get the bill and go, okay, well, I've got 2 weeks or whatever to pay that, is when you get 3 or 4 bills. I think I just spat then, sorry. When you can quite often get, just with the timing of them, 3 or 4 bills that will come in all at once. So rather than getting a bill that's like $200, $300, $400 that you've got to come up with the money for, all of a sudden you could have over $1,000 in bills that you've got 2 weeks to pay. And that's just, that gives me a little bit of anxiety to even think like that. So for many, many, many years now, actually, I think, yeah, probably about 30 years now, I have devised my own system for paying the bills each fortnight. I do have a background when I was working in accounts. I've done accounts payable, accounts receivable, imports, exports, more invoicing than anyone should ever have to look at in their lifetime. Plus, by the time I finished up work, I was supervisor in a very big government department, doing payroll, personnel, and superannuation for a payroll of 3,000 employees. So I know numbers. Now, I'm going to show you my ledgers, right? When you see them, you're going to go, no, she don't know accounts. I also studied a bit of accounting in high school, and then in one of my jobs, I went and did another accounting course. Now, when you see my ledgers, you're going to go, no, she got no background in accounts, because I do them how I want to do them, right? I do them how they make sense for me. One of the biggest differences you'll notice is, you have blue or black and red for, credits and debits. I switch mine around the other way because it's just how I like it, and it's just for me, okay? So don't come at me. Now I'm going to show you how I set all of that up. Now that the bills that I pay regularly each fortnight are the variable ones. So gas, electricity, water, I think that's all. They're the ones I pay each fortnight, I have to calculate the amount that I'm going to pay. Other ones like phone bill and internet and like Eastlink, they're like regular amount, well not Eastlink, but I pay a little bit each fortnight on that, and it builds up over time. So then, sometimes I won't use Eastlink for, like a month. So it builds up in that month, but then I'll find myself using Eastlink, like twice a week for a month. So I've got the build up of funds in there to pay for all of the tolls. Other ones like my car insurance and my contents insurance for my home, I pay those monthly, which does work out to be a little bit more expensive than paying like a lump sum once a year. But I haven't been able to find the money to pay a big lump sum for that once a year. I'm working on building up enough money to be able to do that so that it will be cheaper, so I will save money with that. So those two insurance payments, I have set up a direct debit to come straight out of my bank account once a month, and I've staggered them so that they never ever both come out on the same pay, so that it like spreads out my payments over time, which makes it a lot easier. My rego I pay once every 3 months. I don't pay a bit on that each fortnight, but I save up for it. And I also save up for my roadside assistance, which I pay once a year, but I will cover how I do that in another video because it's a bit of a weird way, but it works. So I'm going to show you how I set up my ledgers. All right, I have two ledger books. I put those pretty covers on them. I just got these from Officeworks. So one of them, and they're just, I should show you what they actually look like. They're just like an accounting book. That's the actual cover of them. And I think I've got different ones, but you get the idea. Now, one of them is for calculating how much I'm going to be paying on my bills each fortnight. And the other one is what I use to actually record what I have paid each fortnight. And I do like to keep that separate. So, now I'm not going to show you my actual bills, because I don't want scammers like getting any more information about me than what they need. And my Instagram got hacked yesterday, so I am very well aware of hackers and scammers. These, all of this is completely made up numbers and completely made up names. I'm not giving you any of my actual details. Now, I'm not giving away anything by telling you that I pay electricity and gas and water and all the rest of it, okay? So, but I've made up names. I tried to think of funny names for them, but I wasn't very inspired. So, this is how I calculate my bills, right? I have them set up like that, and I will take a photo of this page and like put it up next to me so that it's a bit more clear for you. But what I do is I set it up with the headings so that I've got the date, the name of the creditor, so the utility company, how much the bill is, and then I do a total, and then I divide that total by 26 because that's how many fortnights there are in a year, and that's how often I pay my bills, okay? So I list down that first column, the date. That's the date of the bill when I receive it. And then the next, then I've got, like Sparks Electricity or Vapors Gas or whoever, and then I put down the amount of the bill. Now, there's 4 dates there for the electricity because I get 4 electricity bills per year, all right? So then I'm able to, each time I get a new bill, I redo this for the last 4 bills so that I've got the last 12 months worth of electricity usage. And I'm able to add it all up and see how much that costs over the period of 12 months. and then I divide it by 26 so that I know if I pay that amount each fortnight, my bills will be paid for before they even come in. And I also, you'll see there's written in red there, less credit. That's how much my account is in credit at that time. And I take that off. Otherwise, it's just going to get more and more and more and more in credit. So then I end up, in the case of my imaginary Sparks electricity, needing to pay, it says $30.79 per fortnight. I round up to the next $5 so that to make sure that I'm in credit. So I've written a note there, pay $35 per fortnight. Now that with the electricity, my summer bills, I was going to say my summer bills are going to be less. They used to be less. That's not a good example because I've got aircon now, and so my bills are pretty, they don't vary terribly much throughout the year. But if you have a look at my Vapors gas, it was so bad. I was going to call it stinky gas, but I thought keep it nice. Now you can see with my gas accounts, there's 6 dates there and 6 amounts, 6 bills, because I get my gas bill every 2 months, right? So I've done the same thing. I've added up how much all my bills were for the previous 12 months, taken off how much I was in credit, divided by 26, and that comes up with $52.64 per fortnight. So on that one, I pay $55 per fortnight. Now you can see there's a really huge variation in how much I pay there. And again, these are made up figures, but I've made them vary so that you can see my winter bill is much higher than my summer bill. My imaginary summer bill, $87.52. My imaginary winter bill, $468.49, which is just horrifically high. So in summer, I'll be more in credit, right? I can get it, $400 or $500 in credit through summer, and then I get a bill of like say around about $100, $150. But I need to do that so that when I do get to the winter bill, I have the money there. So it's, some of these utility companies call it bill shaping or bill smoothing, and that's what I do myself. And I've got, I have direct debit set up with all these companies, but if I'm in credit when my bill is due, they don't debit me because I don't owe them any money. But it's how they set it up, and I just pay BPay and all the rest of it, and it works. It works. So like last year, I got a phenomenally high gas bill. I think it was over $500 from memory, but I had the money there to pay it. It was already paid. It was already in credit. And then the same with my water. I get 4 bills per year. I write down the 4 dates, the 4 amounts, how much I'm in credit, and then pay it. Now you can see on this one, $7.70 per fortnight, so I pay $10 per fortnight. Now my son's just moved out of home, so all of my bills are going to reduce over, like as I get them in. So these amounts will definitely change. So the next time, just say the next time I get my electricity bill, and I redo this again, my last 4 bills, the amounts, add it all up, take off what I'm in credit, divide it by 26, it's probably going to come in under $30, well under $30. So then I will go, oh, okay, I don't need to pay $35 anymore. I'll bring that down and I'll only pay $30 a fortnight. And so I've got it written down on these pages so I can refer to it and see exactly what I need to pay at any given time. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you. I don't do that for my bills that are all the same, right? I don't do it for my my phone bill or my internet bill because I know how much they are going to be each month. I know exactly how much they are. So just say round figures. Just say my internet bill is $60 a month, right? I know if I pay $30 a fortnight, it's covered. It's covered. When the bill's due, I've already paid it. So that's how that works. Now, this other ledger I have, which is my fortnightly bills, this is where I actually pay my bills. Now, I have a few different pages in this, and I have these all numbered. The numbers will be off in this because this is just a pretendy one to show you how I do it. This is not my actual bills. This is a made-up page that I made for you, okay? So what I do at the start of my ledger is list who all my creditors are, and I write down like all the details that I need. So I've got it all there on a page at a glance. So the BPay number, the account number, what my rego is, what my phone number is, all those sorts of things, so that if I've got to call any of those people, I don't have to go rooting around in my email or any of this sort of thing. It's all there. So that's what that page looks like. It's a very simple page. That's not my actual rego there. But if I were going to get personalised number plates, that's what it would be. Then I also, because these ledgers last for several years, so I have an index so that if something goes wrong with my bills and I think, oh, so-and-so is overcharging me, like my gas and electricity companies are overcharging me because they're not doing the correct concession and I've got to do a reconciliation on that, I can look back at my index and know exactly what page all of my gas bills are on and what pages all of my electricity bills are on and all the payments, right? Same goes for any of them. So and again, this is all just completely made up. So that's what that page looks like. That's my index. So I list out the creditor and the date that page starts on and the date that it finishes on. So like if I want to look up a bill from a particular date, I can look at this and know what page it's on. I've got the pages listed here, and when I finish that, I put the next page that it goes to. So I can find anything at a glance. Then I have, and I've only done one creditor. I just had to turn the video off for a second because I'd done my fake bill page all wrong. But I've fixed it up. It's still messy. That's who I am. I'm messy. So I'm going to show you just one page, a fake page of my electricity bills. I do a separate page for each bill, and obviously some of the pages are going to fill up much quicker than the other pages. You know, like my gas bill fills up really quick because I get so many bills for that one, whereas my rego and my roadside assistance pages will last for years and years and years and years because there's only ever like 2 transactions per year on them. But I'll show you what this one looks like, and excuse the messiness there. That's what that one looks like. So I have the date in the first column, or I have the name of the creditor up the top, and there's the page number up there as well. I have the date in the first column. Now I don't have 2 separate columns for bills and for payments because I then have the notes column, and in that notes column I say whether it's a payment or a bill or something else. You can see down there in the green writing on the 9th of June 2022, if something happens with the bill, like this one, I called up and I got a new plan because I always make sure, I call them about once a year to make sure that I'm on the best plan. So I just wrote down here when the new plan took effect, what the plan is, in this case, the imaginary one, variable, 9% off, and that I can change it at any time. I'm not locked in for 12 months or 24 months or whatever. Then I have the due date of the bill, which is a little bit, I don't really need to put that there because it's always in credit anyway, but it always makes me feel better to see it there. Then in the first dollars column, this is where accountants are going to get a little bit upset because I reverse it. My payments should be in black or blue and the bills should be in red. And if I'm in credit, which I always am, as you can see from my system of all that red on the balance side, if an accountant looked at that, they would say that I owed money, but I don't. This is how I do it, and it's just for me. I understand what I'm doing. If you want to do a similar system, do it whatever colour you want. It doesn't matter as long as you know what you're doing. So I list down, and I don't have two separate columns for the bills and the payments because I've got them in different colours and I know what they mean. Then I have my receipt number, again, all made up receipt numbers, and then the balance. So at any given point in time, I can look on the page for whoever the creditor is and know how much I'm in credit. So if I'm sitting there through winter and you've got the heater blasting and thinking, oh shit, am I going to have enough money to pay my gas bill? I can look and go, oh, actually, I'm $400 in credit and my bill's not due for another month. I'm good. I'm fine. So that's how I do that with those. Yeah, that's it. That's how I keep on top of my bills, and also I do keep records of all of the payments I make and all of the bills that come in, and it turns out to be very, very handy. There was one creditor I'd had recently who stopped sending me accounts because I was in credit, and number one, that's a shitty way to do business because I can't reconcile anything and know exactly, like if I am in credit or, you know, if they change the prices, which they do and they don't tell me about, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, but I'll fight them on that another day. So I had to ask them for a bill and I hadn't had one for about 12 months. So they made up an account for me, like what they called a reconciliation, and sent it to me, and I looked and the figure was different to what mine was, and they had double charged me for something and then said, oh, here's your balance as at blah, blah, blah date, but they hadn't included the last 5 transactions. And so I did them up, not a written one. I didn't do a handwritten one because I had to actually send it to a company, actually a government department. So I did them an Excel spreadsheet. Better believe I love spreadsheets. So I did them my own reconciliation and sent it to them and said, you know, we don't agree on what I owe. Please have a look at my reconciliation and see if we can come to an agreement. And many years ago, I had a very, very big problem with a gas company. I will name them, AGL Gas. I will never, ever, ever, ever have anything to do with them again. They were telling me that I owed them like $1,500 or $1,600 or something, and I was like, no, I don't. But because I had kept records, and I also I don't have paper bills anymore, but when I had paper bills, I used to keep them for 7 years. Now I get everything emailed, so they're all in my email. But because I had kept such good, accurate records, I was able to go back to them and say, no, you've actually triple charged me for this, and you haven't taken these payments, and you haven't done this and haven't done that. And I've had the same with Telstra. They told me once that I owed them like, I think it was like $600 or something, and I didn't. And I was able to look back on my records and see that I was right. Now, I mean, I could always go and look through all my bank statements and all the rest, but it's just easier if you've got it all written down. So hopefully my little methods here can help people to get a little bit better control of their bills and not have surprises when bills come in, and just feel a lot more relaxed at any given point in time, knowing that when your bills come in, they're paid for. And this runs to, how much do I end up? I have a little sticky note somewhere. I keep a little sticky note in my books, in my bills book, with all of the bills that I pay regularly each fortnight, with the total of how much it is. So I know each fortnight, because it does vary. I can see at a glance how much I'm paying in bills total each fortnight, so that it helps with all of my budget, not just my bills, but, you know, like petrol and food and, you know, if I want to go out to dinner with my friends and all that sort of thing. So hopefully this counts. If you've got any questions, put them down in the comments. If you've got a better way of doing this, let me know that as well, because I am always up for better, easier, more simple ways of doing stuff. And that's it. That's it for today.